If you're an animal lover, you're really going to love this episode. Today we're going to get details on some famous wealthy animals. That's right, there are some animals who earn more than the average American. Well, more than me, that's for sure. These are the animal stars we all love, and whatever happened to them. Let's kick it all off with a star who was on TV in the very early days, before many of us were even born. In 1952, commercial network TV was going on 5 years old, and the Today Show was one of the highest profile shows. It was still new, and had only been on the air for about a year, but it was already in trouble. Back in those days, the Today Show was a completely different animal. You notice the recorders back there? Those are audio recorders, while videotape recorders were still under development. Until about 1956, there were no videotapes on network TV. It was all live. They'd have a mixture of news, weather, comedy, puppets, even toy reviews. It was all new. They had no idea what people would watch, so they were open to experimentation. But one thing was certain. If the Today Show didn't find an answer soon, they wouldn't be around for the next season. Enter a chimpanzee named J. Fred Muggs. He was born on March 14, 1952 in French Cameroon. By all accounts, Fred was a very intelligent, but somewhat spoiled personality, with a smile that could win audiences over all around the globe. His owner had been a page at NBC, and through a series of good luck, Muggs ended up in front of a TV camera with co-host Dave Garroway. As Garroway's right-hand monkey, he performed comedy routines, had a wardrobe of 450 outfits, and he played the piano. Badly. It was W.C. Fields who said, "Never work with children or animals," because they'd always upstage you. Dave Garroway was living proof of that. Suddenly, the Today Show was a huge hit, and everyone knew it was because of that cute little chimp, J. Fred Muggs. Dave Garroway, while benefiting from the new ratings, truly hated his co-star. He and that chimp had major personality clashes. It's rumored that Dave would lace J. Fred's orange juice with Benzedrine to get him to act out. Fred's owner said that ape loved Dave, but Dave just couldn't get past his jealousy. One day on the set, Garroway yelled, claiming J. Fred had just bitten him on the cheek. Sometimes the monkey would just go crazy and turn over furniture. Chimps are very strong, and under the influence of those drugs, he probably did get a little rowdy. The end finally came when Fred tried to bite someone else in rehearsal. They replaced him with another less aggressive ape for one more season. And then the show took on a format that's a lot more like the one we know today. It's estimated J. Fred earned NBC an extra $100 million in ad revenue during the time he was on the air. In the end, J. Fred's owner and Dave Garroway both passed away. But that little rascal's still going strong. At age 73, J. Fred Muggs is living with his girlfriend. Where else but in Florida? Next, another money-making mammal.
They call him Flipper, faster than...
Everyone loves that cute and sometimes mischievous, adorable, bottlenose dolphin named Flipper. Now, if you don't remember, Flipper was a TV show. It was on NBC between 1964 and 1967, and then later over and over in reruns. That's when I saw it. It was actually a takeoff of a movie called Flipper, starring Chuck Connors. Yeah, the rifleman. On TV, a Florida park ranger named Porter Ricks, played by Brian Kelly, and his two sons, Sandy and Bud, rescue a wounded dolphin and nurse him back to health. After he gets better, they go on all sorts of dangerous and exciting adventures and rescues. It turns out Flipper was played by 5 different dolphins. And also, he was not a boy. The main dolphin was a female named Kathy. Actually, all 5 were girls: Susie, Patty, Scotty, Squirt, and Kathy. She was born in the wild around 1952 and was captured and trained to do all sorts of tricks and routines. After the Flipper show left the air in 1967, Kathy would move to Florida and continue to play marine shows until her death in 1972. It's rumored she died of a broken heart. after another dolphin that she was very close to passed away. She was 21 years old. We should never forget, these are very intelligent animals. Next up, this star was a tall blonde and had a really deep voice.
Hello, I'm Mr. Ed.
In the early days, Mr. Red was first seen in a 1937 issue of Liberty magazine. Fast forward to the late 1950s, Arthur Lubin, who was best known as the director of Abbott and Costello movies, had an idea based on those old talking horse stories, and the character called Mr. Ed was born. The plot for the TV show was financed by comedian George Burns. It said it cost $70,000 in 1959 dollars. The idea behind the show was a lot like the movie series Francis the Talking Mule, where a mule only talks to one person, causing all kinds of humorous results. Incidentally, Lubin was the director of those films too. So this may not have been an entirely original thought, but it was fun anyway. Mr. Ed, a Palomino whose real name was Bamboo Harvester, was born in El Monte, California in 1949. Before his big TV break, Bam was a show and parade horse. He was a big fella too, and heavy, but reportedly very gentle and very intelligent. He'd been taught from an early age to grasp things with his mouth and perform various behaviors. There have been questions about how they made his lips move when he talked. It's reported they used strings at first, and it's never been confirmed, but we think they used peanut butter. Also, they lied about Ed's age. In the TV show, he was supposed to be 8 years old, but actually he was 11, and he was 17 by the time it left the air. Shortly afterward, Ed began to experience health issues. Details on his death are murky, but it seems he may have suffered a broken leg and had to be put down at age 19. Oh, and one more thing, even though Ed had a deep bass voice on the TV show, he was actually a gelding, or a castrated male. Let's just move right along, okay? All right, quick. Who is the pig who loves to watch TV? No, not your brother-in-law. Now, if you said Arnold Ziffel from the TV show Green Acres, go get a Twinkie. You deserve it. Arnold Ziffel, whose real name was Arnold the Piggy, was played by 4 different pigs between 1965 and 1971. The first one was a boy, but the 3 that followed were all females. The Arnold character was the best part of the show, in my opinion. Arnold attended Hooterville School, and no one seemed to notice that he wasn't human. He was an excellent baseball player and a natural ham. No pun intended. Arnold the Piggy actually won an Emmy for the best performance by an animal and 3 Patsy Awards, which are some sort of Animal Kingdom award. The pigs were well cared for, and they even had a union contract that earned $250 per day for their work. And even though Arnold was world famous and recognized everywhere, he, or she, remained humble. In his own words, and we could not agree more. This is Get Details. Be sure to like and subscribe. Now, let's talk about an actor who was beloved for his tear-jerking role. He only had 1 movie gig, but it was a big one. His contract said that his name was Higgins, and he came from a really poor background. Now, before you forget, these are famous and wealthy animals we're talking about. So Higgins was adopted from the Burbank Animal Shelter by a nice man who was very smart, named Frank N. He was the same guy who also trained Arnold Ziffel, the pig, and all the other animals used on the Beverly Hillbillies, Petticoat Junction, Green Acres, and the Waltons TV series. But his most successful student was Higgins, a mixed breed mongrel, Cocker Spaniel, Poodle, and Schnauzer, who was able to convey a broad range of emotions through his facial expressions. He could even yawn or sneeze on cue. Higgins first became famous in the TV show Petticoat Junction. He played the part of Dog. Typecasting, I know. He stayed on the show till it ran its run, and then Higgins retired. By then, he was getting on up in age, but he was far from being done. Frank decided to bring Higgins out of retirement for the biggest and most impactful role of his career, Benji. That's right, that cute, irascible, crime-solving pup, Benji. Everyone loved that cute little pup so much that Benji earned over $45 million on a budget of about $500,000. It was the first of a series of 5 Benji movies, but it was the only one that Higgins himself would star in. By then, at the age of 14, that's about 98 in dog years, he was ready to take it easy and just enjoy life. And he did, until passing just 1 month before his 18th birthday. So there you go, 5 animals that earn more than the average middle-class worker, except dock workers. They also earn a permanent place in our hearts. This is Get Details. Hey, thanks for watching, and be sure to check out our other amazingly interesting videos on a variety of subjects. And Get Details.